Hi everyone, welcome again to another video. This is one of the first. I'm basically going to start answering questions like this. Not because I don't want to type and say hello and stuff like, because I do get asked a lot of questions at times on YouTube, especially just after putting a video on. I obviously get asked a lot more questions, then between videos it gets a wee bit quieter, and I get the odd one. And it's not a big deal just to sit down and answer. I have answered a few. Last night I answered quite a few, and the night before. I do it mainly in the evening, so when I'm sitting down, instead of watching the telly, I sit and type away. So what I'm going to try and do is answer a few this way. So let me know what you think. If you like it, I'll continue doing it. If you don't, then I'll stop. Simple as that. But it is, I think, a good way to actually... I'm not going to answer a huge amount. I'm going to do maybe 20-minute video at the most, not much more than that. And once I've answered those, I may look at answering 2 or 3 other and do it over a time and try and catch up, because I do fall behind if I'm doing other things. But anyway, first question. If you can see here at the top, I'm just going to... First thing is, it's on this fly here. If I can touch that to zoom in so you can actually see what I'm looking at. Now, what this is the Undertaker Muddler Skater. Now, skater being, you can see, it's a muddler head, bright chartreuse, black body. It was actually tied. I tied these originally for friends that was fishing in Canada, in the Cascapedia. The fish tend to quite happily come to a dry fly, because these will float much like a big caddis, really. Because there's plenty of deer hair on it. It'll certainly, if you put your muslin or gink it up or floating on it, it'll certainly sit up. And it'll skate well. You can fish in a dead drift if you want. But anyway, the question was, I'll just make it smaller again. Basically, well, you can see the name there. It's a big long, just words, letters, sorry. But anyway, could you tie it on a double, largish, if you double up on the deer hair like you did on the big version, sorry. I'm just trying to find a good use for a bunch of double hooks given to me. Right. Now, obviously with the double it's a bit heavier. You're nothing to say you can't do it, because I've tied on doubles, muddler heads, mainly for sea trout. It's a trailing... I remember tying wee doubles, but with the wee treble hook off the back, they call secret weapon. It was for sea trout at night, mainly in black and such. But if you're only fishing, if you're doing it on a double hook, fine. I would certainly, definitely, as long as the hooks are not too heavy. If they're too heavy, it will obviously sink the fly. If you put enough deer hair on it, certainly less body, more deer hair, more wing, more deer hair at the head. It certainly will skate. When I tied them on doubles, it was practically the whole of the double was the head. The trailing bit was actually the body, a bit of hair over it. It was a long time ago. I don't tie many of them nowadays, but you certainly can. I would definitely give them a go. Just try it. I do. I mean, I've tied many a fly. But anyway, hopefully that answers your question on that one. Hi David, do you know if there's any pike or perch in this loch? What do we see? Oh, Hairlaw trout fishery. Couldn't tell you, to be honest with you, perch and pike in it. When I did fish it that day, there was obviously rainbows I was fishing for. If you put a big lure on, and if there was a pike in there, they would have a go. Same with wee perch, they would do the same. Give them a call. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's a fly fishing only. You can't bait fish. You can't do anything like that. Well, saying that, there is a part you can bait fish. Look, give them a call. If they're pike and perch there, you'll certainly catch them. I don't mind catching pike and perch on a fly. It's good fun. But anyway, Matt, sorry, I hope that answers your question. As I say, always give them a call. They'll keep you right. Next one, question. Hey Davey, what is that? Lures or work art. Lures I work art now. I have got this page, what he's commenting on, I'll show you here. Some photos of classic salmon flies I put on, I think it was last week, or middle of the week anyway. Where are we? Got another page here. So if we scroll down, there's a picture there, or one of the pictures. These are Jockscots. Now, I tied these quite a few years ago. Now, tying classic flies, right, you can tie and fish these flies. But if you're tying these on traditional hooks, gut-eyed, using the original materials in these flies, which I did do. Now, the only reason I could tie these flies is because the collector had the feathers so I could tie them. So that's what I did, and there was a blue Jockscot, there was a claret version, and then there was the Jockscot itself at the top there. Lovely flies to tie. Most of the times I tie classic flies, or did tie at one time for collectors, I always said to them that if you want me to tie that fly, you need to get the materials, because it's near impossible to find the materials to tie a lot of the classic flies, and you need to get hold of old birds or an old hat that may have the feathers on it. When I was sourcing materials, I actually bought the taxidermy birds, which were for the Victorian time. So that was one way of getting the feathers. And you had to keep searching and searching and searching. So, but anyway, there was other flies. This one here, this is the Smith. There's a story behind this one. Basically, I restored that fly. There was practically no wing on it. I restored the body to a point, and I replaced a couple of the hackles. Front hackle, I remember right. Again, this went to a collector. They got the eye on the hook is made up of catgut, so it was the original. I just put it back on, fixed the wing, and retied the fly. It was a lovely big hook. It was a 7-0. It was a big hook. Lovely fly to tie. Same with these here. This one I tied. This is a restoration. This one. So is that one. That one. I think that was just I tied that. Can't remember. I mean, I don't have these flies anymore. I've just got the pictures. So as I say, I was tying them for collectors. Now, as you picture below here, this just when we're here. Again, these are classic style. These are streamer flies, carry Stephen patterns. Not them all. This one down here. That's a picture. I think that was designed by someone else. But it's a lovely fly. The blue back. That's a blue back fly that represents. Again, the streamer flies. I do have the streamer patterns here. These are great fun. I love tying these, even though I've never fished them. I got hold of the hooks, the Carry Stephen hooks. They were designed, but these ones came from Partridge. As far as I believe, you can't get them anymore. So it was like I came across them at a game fair, and so that's why I've got some. I bought some online as well. There's the old mustard ones you can get. There's another A.knox, which is the one most people want. They can be quite expensive to find. But it's like anything. But I tied these. I get these ones I gave away in the monthly draw that I do each month. So anyway, hopefully that answers your question there. Other thing I did get asked a question about how do you get into tying classic salmon flies? Where would you start? You could start really small. I mean, it's the smallest kind of close classic style flies would be the Irish wet flies, like dabblers and such like, because they've got all the bits, bumbles. I mean, these have got this workings of towards classic salmon flies in a way, but just tie them bigger. There's flies I would certainly recommend. I've got a couple of books here. If you're going to start tying classic flies, firstly finding a hook. Now, if you're going to be using a hook, Alec Jackson 3.0, and you get the smaller size, a 2, I think there's a 1.0, a 1.5, I can't remember. I buy the 3.0s, and I tie Speys and Ds on these. You can buy these. I bought these from a gentleman at a shop in Canada. Yeah, you can buy a pack of 100. They're not super expensive, but the code for this hook is the 2051 Alec Jackson. It's a Spey Fly hook. It's really, really good. Classic the book. This is the Knox's book, A.knox, Autumn on the Spey. This has the old Spey Fly patterns in it. If you're tying classic salmon flies, if you want the old books, then How to Dress. This is How to Dress Salmon Flies by Price Tannant. That's a good one, but this is a first edition, so is this other one, the Spey. You don't need a first edition to tie these flies. You can buy second, third, fourth edition, still the same inside. I like, obviously, I bought these at a fair, these, believe it or not. Modern books, you've got John Shuey's book. John Shuey's, this was the most recent one I got hold of. It's got a lot of lovely classic flies in the book. I think he shows you how to tie. He does. There's tying step by steps in the book. So that's a great book. John Shuey's got another 2 or 3 books. Bob Ververka, Spey Flies, great book as well. Lots of patterns, lots of inspiration in that book. Great book as well. If you want to tie, if you're looking for a book, there's a couple of these. There's the Fallows edition. This one here, now Hardy's Salmon Flies, patterns for the fly tying department, obviously 1883 to 1969. This has got all the dressings in it. What's it done? It's got all the patterns, if I can show you. See in there, you've got the patterns, the dressings. So it gives you patterns that you could tie without going crazy with having the original materials. So there are lots of books that you could use. If you want to do the streamers, there's a couple of books for the streamers. This one is the one I've got. It's a great book here. This one, especially Carrie, G. Stevens, the Trout and Salmon Flies. I mean, it's a great book. It's got all the grey ghost in the back. You see plenty of inspiration in there. They have tied the set of Carrie's flies. Lost the camera. The camera's lost me. It's one of these dirty cameras that follow you. I don't know what it was following there, the book, maybe. Anyway, sorry folks about that. I went the wrong way, the camera. So hopefully that answers a couple of questions there. Beautiful work. I love the sound, the river. Great video as usual. Did I hear an owl hooting in the background? Now that was recently that. I was down the river here. I think I did hear it. It wasn't an owl. I think it was actually a turtle dove. Or even a pigeon, I can't remember. I think I remember it sounded very owl-like, so it did, Frank, to be honest with you. I can understand why you thought that. But it's a lovely area, it's a beautiful area to fish, nice and quiet at times. Anyway, that's hopefully Frank answers your question. Next, thanks again, Davie, great patterns. Thanks, David. What have we got here? Davie, time flies. Oh, jeez. This is Stan and Natalie. Hello, Stan and Natalie. It's 15 years. Stan, and he's just married. He's at the time came over to Scotland, dropped by and said hello to myself and my wife. And went up. My wife took Natalie up the town, my daughter, and showed her around. I'd never met Stan and Natalie until that day. I think I maybe only spoke to them maybe once on the internet. So I hope you're well, like as always, Stan and Natalie. I hope life's good to you. We're fine, thanks. And it's 15 years. Pooh, it's a long time. Didn't seem 15 years, like. But anyway, great watch, sir. Thanks, Barry. What we got here is, I'll translate this one. Translate. This technique of drying nymph at distance. Okay, what is it possible to do? Right, okay. Right. Now, what this is about, I was fishing the other day in the river here. Now, it was my setup. What was my setup and what distance? Now, the method I like to fish, especially in the pool I was in, and I fished the other pools much the same. They had a dry dropper on, so I had a tapered leader down to 5x, which is 4 pound. Now I'm terrible with X, I'm better with pounds. Next I had on was £3 tippet to that, so I had a tippet of maybe 2.5, 3 feet, and I put my dry fly on. So that extends the tapered leader. It allows me to use up the tippet rather than using up the tapered leader. So especially when you're changing up all the time. And from the bend of that dry fly, maybe depending on the bottom area, there was a cam area way down the bottom. I was only maybe 2.5 feet off the bend of the dry. And I was fishing a small, I think it was a size 18 or 20 pheasant tail, a wee tungsten bead, I think it was 1.5 mil. So I was fishing that off a dry. I was fishing both the dry and the nymph, so it was very calm water. I know the kind of the area, and I know where I've had fish before, so I was fishing in those areas. And I think I get 2 grayling of that. But when I was in the faster water, I had it slightly longer, maybe 3.5 foot. I had a slightly heavier bead, had a slightly bushier dry fly so I could see it and it would support the nymph. But I was fishing by a lot long cast. I wasn't fishing short, so I was searching. And I was doing the same in the fast water, especially at the bottom as I was working up. And I was fishing the edge. And I think I got 2 or 3 fish anyway. But as I get nearer the faster water up at the neck, I have reduced the cast. So it's more just the leader that's on the water and a high sticking, if you want to call it. And I'm using my dry, as a dry fly as well, as an indicator, so my nymph off the bend. And I got one of my best grayling I actually got on that. And it was the same further up when I first started up at the bridge. So that was my makeup, that's what I did, that's what I put together to fish. And I like fishing long, and I like to cast the fly line rather than just cast nylon, which not that I don't mind doing it, it's just I prefer the other way. I prefer to cast the fly line upstream and fish and so on. But anyway, that's what I did. I'm sorry, I don't have a name there. It's just PP Prickett. But anyway, great question, by the way. We've got Mike. Oh, hello, Mike. Thanks as always. You're welcome, Mike. Sorry, I clicked myself off there. Where are we? Down. So there we are, Brian. So Brian asked, genuine question, why didn't you go down below him to the slacker water where he could be fighting you and the current? And this is when I hooked the salmon, as I say, on the 9-foot 4-weight top dropper. I was using, I think it was £5 nylon. And I had 2 other flies, obviously. I had the top dropper, middle and point. And I was fishing, believe it or not, Brian, you'd have to see that area. And I was fishing below where a tree was in the water. The tree was actually 2/3 into that wee corner there. If I'd tried, I did think I just held the fish at first. I remember just holding it and going, geez, what am I going to do here? And my mind was thinking, I was kind of half hoping by just keeping a kind of pressure on it, it may work its way up. But the chances are it working its way up, and I guarantee it'd go underneath that tree, and no chance if it had done underneath that tree because there's branches everywhere. I just had a small narrow neck to get up into the next pool, which was fast again. Now that area is where the dam used to be. There used to be a dam there, and that tree was part of the issue, as well as another one that caused the dam to break. And it actually, where the fish went, and where it actually, when I first hooked it, it went behind a stone boulder on the far side. That was part of the dam. Once it left that fast water, I said, look, in my mind I was saying I'd probably have more chance to land it around the bend or just further down, where I actually lost it at the end. So because there's a wee bit I could have played it there. And I'm not making excuses, but seeing when you're playing the fish, obviously your mind's thinking, how am I going to land this? First thing was impossible to. Chances of landing that was very slim, by the way, because of the setup. I wasn't fishing for salmon. And that fish was £10 plus. It wasn't a wee fish, it was a decent fish. So basically, I went behind a boulder, but that boulder was basically part of the dam. I went underneath it on the other side, and that's where I struggled to get I eventually got the salmon out and into the kind of deeper water. Now in that area, the water comes down quite fast. I mean, it's fast all the way down there. There's backwater. There's a sandbank where I was standing, and because it was a backwater, any branches or any things like that, and there was plenty of branches from the winter lying in that sort of backwater. And I was trying to look at an area where I could probably beach it, and I could see branches to the left, branches to the top, branches at my feet. And I'm saying, it's gone downhill even more. When I noticed all the branches, I went, there's really very little chance of getting it. And even when it was starting to tire, the two flies that was hanging below would probably catch up on something. And that's what happened in the end up. The branch that was on the left of me, it actually caught the top of the branch. It broke off the fly, and I was left with the top of the branch. And the branch was solid, it was heavy, because it had been it sunk. It wasn't a brand new branch where it could float away. This was a solid branch, and it weighed twice its weight, so it was full of water as well. So anyway, that's the main reason why I lost it, and the way I fought it was just the best way I could at the time. After it, you could always think, well, I could have done better, but I think, to be honest with you, I don't think I could have played it any better with what I had. So, great question though, Brian. It's I liked your question. What's this? Next one. And this gentleman's asked me about my voice. I don't know what that is. But anyway, we'll leave that one. Are these streamers meant for salmon, or an imitation, or an actual salmon fly? What is? Oh, this is the same. It's the salmon flies again. It's just the retractor patterns were designed many years ago. I still tie small Jockscots. But I don't use all the materials that they did put into the fly, but it's practically a Jockscot. The poor man's Jockscot would be the acroid. It's just got a white wing or a brown wing. The body is much similar to the Jockscot. That's what it's called, the poor man's Jockscot. But they are actual salmon flies. They are actual. Jacob, his name is. Yep, hello Jacob. Again, that's a good question. Hey Davie, do you have a mayfly emerger like the split wing PMD, pale mullein dun, that you like to tie? I'll make this the last one. I'll say hello to James, sorry, firstly. Lovely wee fly that, Davie, thank you. Right, I usually do this. Half insane outdoor guy. There we are, half insane indoor man. Anyway, emerge split wing for a pale mullein dun. The original one that is a Larkin Grey is probably one of my favourites. It's a local pattern, and it will represent, if you tie it the right size, for pale mullein dun. It's like a pale yellow. It's a fine grizzle like hackle. But it's a non-genetic, it's the old grizzle. I've got one here. Here we are. This is a... No, it's not. Well, that was it. I'll see if I can find one. You'll have to excuse us a second. Here we are. Most of the dry flies I ever tied were originally tied with using just these cheap. Can I get this camera again? There we are. Hello. It's supposed to follow you, this thing. Anyway, that's the wee cheap grizzle. One of these. It's got that grey, it's not so much black, it's grey and white. Scots Grey or Plymouth Rock was the original type of colour or sort of cape that you would use. These are names of chickens. Plymouth Rock. Good wee cape if you can get them nowadays. You just use these up. Indian or Chinese be the same. That with a nice pale yellow body, a kind of very pale yellow. Pale yellow, I can show you the colour. I would mess about with the body colour, but originally it would be the very pale yellow. But if you look up Larkin Grey on my website, on the YouTube channel, you'll find the old pattern, the original one. You're talking like a light Cahill would be the colour, if you're using the thread colour. I don't have any in there. I don't know where it is. But anyway, I like Cahill. If you're going by the colour of the thread, it would be this colour of thread here. I don't know if you can see it up close, but like Cahill, that's a Uni 80. So that in the body, but the wing would be, if it's a split wing, the old style would be starling, or even mallard duck, depending on the size of the fly. The starling and the smaller flies especially, it's nice and soft, and it blends nicely into the hackle. If you want to do a modern style, you could use for the wing, the ultra dry yarn. If you want to use CDC or a mix of both, it could be comparadon. You could use deer hair, split the deer hair so you've got a split wing on it. But traditionally it would be a feather wing. A starling would probably, the snipe's good, starling, or because it's a nice grey, teal, not the actual barred black and white, but the teal sort of primary feathers off the wing, or you could go mallard, but use the bottom of the mallard feather. It's nice and soft. So this camera's been, I don't know why it keeps wanting to look down there. Nobody down there. But anyway, folks, I'll stop at that because it must be close to 20 minutes. Anyway, I hope this, if you like this and you want me to answer your question this way, just let me know. I don't mind doing it, and see how we go. So again, as always, thanks for watching. Until next time.